Welcome to the Morning Ping podcast, where coffee, innovation, and community kick off the day. This podcast dives into bold ideas, startup realities, and the people rethinking everyday experiences through technology and grit. Hosted by storyteller Justin Starbird, alongside Ping co-founders Jane Lowe and Rob Whitten. The Morning Ping brings a distinctively New England edge to building what's next. Grab your coffee and join our hosts.
Welcome back to the Morning Ping podcast. My name is Justin Starbird, and we have all been there, trapped in a 10-car line, late for work, watching the minutes tick away while someone tries to take an order over a scratchy speaker. Generally, it's slow, it's expensive, and it's broken. Today, I'm excited because we get to talk about the end of the wait. I'm joined by Rob Whitten, co-founder of Ping, and Jane Lowe, co-founder of Ping, to talk about wicked fast coffee, automated drive-throughs, and giving you your morning back. Guys, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining me today. This is exciting to kick off this brand new series about Ping. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Justin.
Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, so this is such an interesting topic. We all live in the Northeast where, it's generally really dark out or cold half the year, and coffee is a lifeline to getting our day started. Talk a little bit about, what Ping is and how you got the idea.
So for us, Ping is the ultimate customer pickup experience. And, this whole thing was sort of born from bad pickup experiences. We had three teenagers in high school a few years ago, and every soccer and basketball, after every game, they'd want to go through the drive-through. And it was a very inconsistent, terrible experience. You didn't know if you'd be there for 5 minutes or 30 minutes, or if they get my order wrong again, or be rude. So one day I was complaining about this actually, and Jane turned to me and she says, with my customer experience background and your food and robotics background, we should totally solve this. And that's when we really started looking at it.
So Ping is your fault, Jane?
Well, I would say that both of us are very busy and patient humans, which I think a lot of our customers are. We're just trying to solve a problem for ourselves.
Yeah, of course. We've all been there, and especially when you have kids. Well, hey, even on the commute to work, sometimes this is it's just a pain in the rear, right? Yes, yesterday, full transparency, yesterday I got my coffee from one of these said locations, and as they were handing it over, it just dumped all over the inside of the vehicle. So, those sorts of things happen too. I think it's so fascinating that you pointed out your backgrounds. Talk a little bit about, where you guys come from and what gives you, the gumption, the audacity to solve such a big thing.
Yeah, so I can get started. So I hail from iRobot and Amazon Robotics, but I've also been a foodie for a long time. And I really fell in love with robotics at iRobot. And for a long time, I felt that food and automation could come together in a way that creates an amazing customer experience. And so that's one of the reasons I started a food truck a while back, was to learn about the food service industry and about starting a business. But my original concept was to do a breakfast sandwich machine. It's an idea I'm glad I didn't necessarily follow too deep, because it wasn't the right time for it. But now is the right time and the right problem to solve, to bring those things together in a way that not only makes it faster and better and cheaper and all that sort of thing, but creates this new customer experience that just simply didn't exist before.
That's exciting. Gene, talk a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the Bay Area and I worked in like healthcare and pharma after school, but it was slow, it was regulated, it was just not for me, not a good personality fit. I also discovered that I want to be as close to the end consumer as possible. So after business school, I came out east and I worked in product marketing at Shark Ninja, which is actually where I met Rob. We were on the same product development team on the kitchen side, on the Ninja side, and loved it. Very entrepreneurial company, a much better culture fit for me, and I love working in like very fast-paced environments, and I love chaos. So, but actually, my true passion is in customer experience. I was on the analytics team at Forrester, working as an advisor to Fortune 500 executives, their leadership teams, and that's my true passion. I love like thinking about how to make experiences the best they can be for customers, just really frictionless, just so they can like get on with their day, but bringing joy to their lives. Like that's really what we're trying to achieve with Ping, is at the end of the day, the customer's experience is what drives us.
Yeah. That's so exciting and so neat to hear because, you're trying to solve a problem. I want to jump into that is, the wait time behind waiting in line for drive-through. Often it is, advertised as quicker, faster, more efficient, but you found that to be opposite. So, Jane, I'll start with you. Talk a little bit about what Ping is and what you're actually doing.
Yeah, on the most basic level, if you just give a description, Ping is an autonomous coffee shop drive-through. But what we're trying to really solve for are these really long lines at the drive-through by using robotics. There is a national labor shortage. It's really hard to find and retain baristas now, and it's really stressful for them to try to, they're like metric against drive-through speed. So it's very stressful. So we're trying to solve for all those problems using robotics and trying to get it down to the most minimal weight, but having that minimal weight be just like a victorious feeling that like part of your day. So that's at a very minimum what it is. We think this is the future of convenience, using robotics in a consumer-facing way to solve for challenges and to deliver better experiences.
And Rob, how do you actually do that? Talk a little bit about the process and how the pod works.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's about starting with that vision, that perfect experience. And when you really get into the nitty-gritty of it, it allows you to, robotics and AI and sensors allow you to really just dial in that experience. So it's consistent, it's exactly what you want, and it's very smooth and convenient. And so, we started with that vision, and then we figured out what technology we needed in order to support the vision. So, from the customer perspective, we needed a very smooth app to start with, and then that app needs to be connected with a way to detect that customers are not only on site, but they're the next person in the window. So that's when we came up with what I think is some of our key IP, which is a sensor augmented geofence. And so, once you get close, the geofence senses you and we start making your order. But then we have sensors on site that see that you're the next person in line, right? So that's how we're able to manage, the site traffic and manage people through the window and get them through very, very quickly. But in order for that to all work, you have to be able to make a drink within 30 seconds that arrives at just the right time. And that's why you have to automate the fulfillment piece of it too. And so that's why we have an autonomous pod with two robots inside, enough to manage the peak volumes. We can make a drink with each robot every 30 seconds. So our total machine rate is about 360 drinks per hour, right? So designing for that peak demand meant that nobody would have to wait, no matter how busy we get. And putting all those things together, now you can really just start to dial in that experience. The robots can give you exactly the right amount of every ingredient, so you don't end up with some weirdo drink that you didn't order, which has happened to me more often than I care to admit. And robots just don't get flustered, right? If 6 orders come in at once, they just run programs, right? They'll continue to work and just work through the problem and allow people to do what people are good at, right? We'll still have like a site host on the site to help new people through and take care of any sort of problems. We'll still have people refitting those robots and supporting them. So it allows people to really be pulled out of that very stressful fulfillment role and do what people are good at, and talk to other people and manage the logistics.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before, but $50 billion industry. And generally speaking, the process is still stuck in the 50s. Why hasn't this been tackled before?
It's a great question. And the 50s, it's so true that the two-way speaker, I think, is the last real development for drive-throughs that actually affected the way they operate. I mean, you can add another line, you can add, fancy menu boards, but at the end of the day, you really have to look at the whole process, take it apart and put it back together again in a way that makes sense and is automatable, right? And so I just think nobody's really done that yet, right? They haven't. People tend to do more of what they know, and they tend to kind of scratch at the edges of a problem and stick with the same process. They'll take a human out of a loop and put a robot in, and that's kind of my pet peeve of automation, right? Where you don't necessarily get the full benefit from it unless you're able to explore and redefine the whole process to make it more suitable for automation.
Yeah. I think it's incredible to, see this sort of, start to come to life. You've had your pilot already. Jane, you talk about the customer experience and that be, really your passion. How do you, say and combat those that say convenience, overtakes quality, and there might not be a quality product at the end, and your claim is that the quality of the drinks are as good if not better than some of the stalwarts.
Yeah, absolutely. We came in here knowing, after having talked to a lot of customers, that the impression is automation leads to bad quality coffee. They're thinking like Keurig. And taste is very subjective. So I'm not saying that Keurig is bad or anything. It's just, there's a link between what people think and how they, in terms of automation. So when we thought through the end-to-end process of what this customer experience looks like, we wanted the coffee to surprise people, and it has. Our customers tell us all the time that they're very surprised at how good our coffee is. And we're working in partnership with Cometeer to bring that quality of coffee. Does it cost us more? Yes, it does. But we think it's worth it because that's what's going to keep people coming back. Is really at the end of the day, the product has to be super good as well as the experience. So we think it's worth it because we are realizing savings from occupancy and labor, and we can put that back into better quality ingredients. So we start with the coffee, make sure it's super good. And then the rest of the experience also has to be super good. It has to be consistent. It has to be reliable. And that's what Rob is building is robotics that will deliver on the rest of the experience and make sure that people are as delighted with the quality of that experience as well. So we did think through the entire thing. So like if you want 100 customizations, for example, a robot can deliver that for you because robots just run programs.
Yeah. I think, thinking about a coffee with 100 customizations, it feels like a Kardashian episode. And, that they're walking in and expecting something. And I think that is what is so fascinating is that you're marrying, not just the technology and the experience, but also demanding that quality maintain itself. And I think, from a mission standpoint, that's really exciting.
Yeah. And it's so fascinating how people build behaviors and habits around coffee. Like Pedro Pascal, for example, he does like a six shots, like that's his drink. And then other people have like many, many like syrup pumps and things like that. So, but nobody is the same, not really. So that's also a fascinating part of this as well.
Rob, how do you account for all those potential customizations or, oddities that may come in?
Yeah, I mean, for us, Jane said it before, robots just run programs. And so, giving it the ability to, dose out all of these things very precisely and very quickly. Think of it as like 3D printing drinks. And think about the speed that a 3D printer can move at. Eventually, we're starting a little bit slower, but eventually we're going to get faster and faster, and your drink will come out that quickly. So all those modifications will be very quick, be very precise, and they'll be consistent over and over and over again.
Yeah. Jane, you talk about how people build habits in and around coffee, especially in the morning or through the course of the day, and they're very strict on what they want. I know my wife's order tends to be very specific, and you guys just completed a test that really proved out the concept. What were some of the things from those, from the pilot that stood out to you from a customer experience standpoint, or just the way in which, people continue to come back over and over again?
Well, first of all, we feel like our pilot really proved the product market fit. People were really enthused about the whole experience. They came back quite often. So we have loyalty even without having a loyalty program in place. So that's great. People generally tend to order the same things. There are people who want to order something different every time and experiment, but the usual habit is to order the same every morning, right? Because that's what gets you going. Um, so that's great because we've built a feature in where you can save as many favorite drinks as you like, and then you can reorder super quickly. So things like that. And, the other thing is we have shown there's a lot of demand. Every day we're on site, people are like, when are you open? When are you open? Right now we're doing customer testing, but there is a ton of demand for that. And then, they're coming back not just for the coffee, but or for the experience, but both.
Mhm.
It's really what's driving them there. So there's a lot of like interesting behaviors, and we learn so much from our customers. Like customers are gold. Their feedback is so important. The other day we had someone come through. We're testing energy drinks right now, and he was like, "I would love to tweak the caffeine levels in my energy drinks, and we can absolutely do that." Wasn't something we thought about, but like genius. So I think there's just like a lot to learn from our customers.
Yeah. Rob, what have you taken away from on the tech side on, learning how quickly the robots can process those programs, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, like Jane said, the big thing customers wanted was, more hours and more pods and more accessibility to it. So I think the biggest lesson we learned is we need to develop as quickly as possible and be able to scale quickly because people are anxious for it, right? They're super excited about it. So we need to like lock down our designs. I mean, we're still working on the final portions, but we need to jump into our production designs as soon as possible and get it out to people. Lots of other smaller features as well, but that's like the number one thing that we're finding is people want it now. They're excited about it.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we're all located, you and I, the three of us anyway, in the Northeast, where there is a unique relationship, with coffee and has been for a long time, or even caffeinated drinks. I mean, we threw tea out of the into the harbor at one point just to, to complain about our taxes. But whatever, there's a unique relationship here in the Northeast related to, waking up in the morning. In my opinion, people always are looking to tie their boots tighter or, they get that extra loop on their belt to go to work to solve problems. And, do you think that it uniquely positions you to gain a, dedicated following because of location or, what do you think about where you are in terms of bringing this solution to the masses related to geography?
I mean, New England is a big coffee drinking hub, right? We're all like fans of Dunkin' here. Um, yeah, and I think the other thing about New Englanders is like they want to cut to the chase. They just like want efficiency. They like no nonsense kind of people. I think that's exactly the kind of experience that we're delivering is that sort of like no nonsense, like just straightforward, like get your coffee as fast as you can inside you kind of sort of situation.
Yeah. What's it like
You
for
can
you?
make New England happy. You can make pretty much everybody happy.
High
We're
expectations
demanding,
here. Yeah,
we're,
demanding.
patience isn't our weakness. So, it's a great place to start and really, test the boundaries of like, are people going to enjoy this in the experience? And that's the coolest thing is like we have very, very strong supporters in the area. So, yeah, it's very exciting. I can't wait to branch out, but I mean, I grew up in Loudon, New Hampshire, right? So, it's very exciting to start New England and be able to, see the smiles on cold, bitter, New England morning, and know that we're being able to, bring that throughout the country and maybe the world. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, New England definitely gives you direct feedback, whether you are asking for it or not.
Extremely direct.
Love
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Perfect. Though. Yeah,
Uh,
that's how you get better.
yeah, absolutely. Speaking of location, yeah, how are you determining, on the technology side, where that you mentioned the geofence and we've talking a lot about efficiency and what we're creating for people's expectations in their experience. And so, you're asking folks to order on an app and then, thinking about other drive-throughs right now, whether that be Dunkin' or Starbucks or others, you've got to be 5 or 10 minutes out in order to be able to do that. How quickly are you or anticipating people to make those orders and then have them actually completed? Walk through like morning routines and actually how that happens. Is it something where they order 10 minutes ahead and then when they hit your fence, then it's or then it's created? Like, just walk us through that.
Yeah, so ideally you would order maybe even the night before. That order can stand for as long as you like. And once you get close to the pod, we start making your order and then on site, we have the sensors. But in terms of the kind of sites that we're looking for, we're able to fit in a nice small little footprint. We only require site power, so essentially the site we're on now is just really a pull-off, kind of a glorified parking lot pull-off on a really busy road. There's no coffee immediately in the area, and it's a main commuter route, and so that's like kind of the perfect mix of things for us. We're able to, save a lot on our occupancy costs. You're not paying for a big fancy storefront. Like all of the majority of the cost for your drink is actually being turned into the high quality ingredients that go into your drink, right? So the savings in one area we're able to apply and just create a better product in another. So finding those nice little niche spots like that, I think are kind of a real key to how we're able to be successful as a business case, which is super important as well.
That's interesting. I didn't realize. So if they, that sounds wild to be able to order the night before and the fact that it's not going to be made until you're 60 seconds out.
Yeah.
I think that part is really an interesting thing now because generally speaking, the Starbucks you order and it could sit there the entire time and start to get cold and those sorts of things. So what does that do for quality, Jane?
Yeah, I mean, if it's sitting there, it's oxidizing. If it's coffee, it's like melting. If it's iced, it's getting cold. If it's hot, like the quality of your drink is no longer the same. And we've had customers really take advantage of this. They will order one day and then pick up the next. They might wait a few hours. And the genius behind this is that you could be someone who orders and you want to run a few errands before you pick up your coffee. So it might take you 2 or 3 hours, whatever. It could be 30 minutes, but you can pick it up whenever you want and the drink will be fresh. So today at a Starbucks or a Dunkin's, you have to time your arrival to when you think the drink will be ready. Because we've also seen other people have their drinks stolen off of the counter,
Actually,
right,
it happened
for
during an
pickup.
investor meeting at a Starbucks. It was very funny. We watched
Yeah.
it all happen, and we're like, "Well, there it goes." So, like, we can't stop that person, but yeah, that drink is
Yeah.
now gone.
So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, what this means is that the technology supports your behavior. Like whatever you want to do, we mold it around what you want to do. And for other coffee shops, it's really about molding your behavior to their specific capabilities. So I think this is more customer focused.
That's great. Right now, we've talked a little bit about New England and folks that are, invested from an emotional standpoint in the product and the brand and the pod in you guys to see this come together. But you're also opening this up to investors, and you've created a community round on the WeFunder platform that you're getting set to launch publicly. Talk a little bit about what the investment round looks like and, why you're doing that.
It's very important for us that our customers can invest in Ping. And I'll tell you why, because when we first started, we spent maybe 6 months trying to raise from VCs with a pitch deck and a dream, before we'd done a pilot or anything like that. And it was actually hard for a lot of VCs to resonate just with the problem statement because they tend to be a little wealthier. Maybe they'll have a fancy machine or somebody that goes and gets their coffee, or they probably live in the city. They might live in the middle of the city where they don't really go through the drive-through. But our customers, on the other hand, they live the problem. Like it's a visceral reaction when you start talking about a bad drive-through experience from some people, right? So the excitement that they have around, being able to be a part of the future and be at the very beginning stage of this and be an investor, like a lot of our customers have asked to invest. So that's the biggest reason that we opened up a community round is we felt like our customers should also be our investors, because guess what, investors are great customers and vice versa, and we have that feedback loop with them, so they can see us developing, they can see us adding features based off of their feedback. It's very apparent. So there's just such an amazing flywheel that can happen when your customers are investors and also are invested, right? And the overall success. And I think one of the coolest things that happened for us was having one of our customers from our pilot. We're doing a beta test now, and so he came back and was the first one to get a fully automated order, through the system, ordering on the app with the sensors and the robot making the drink. And he said it best. He's like, I feel like I just got the first package delivered from Amazon or something, because that's exactly what we're trying to do for drive-throughs is, raise the bar in the same way that Amazon raised the bar for, mail order. It's no longer 6 to 8 weeks. Now it's a couple of days for Amazon, but in the same way where you have this very inconsistent experience that could be up to 30 minutes for a drive-through, now we're talking seconds, right? And you just have to, apply the right technology to get there. So I think it's a very exciting time, and I think, our customers see that and they want to be able to be a part of it too.
Yeah, our customers, just to add on to that, is they really believe in our mission. And that belief in us and that commitment to us has like continued through time. Like we have customers from our pilot coming back and investing in us. Thank you very much, by the way, to every one of them. But yeah, that shows us that, what we're doing is resonating.
Yeah, I absolutely. I think that is so exciting to see this at the ground floor, like your example with Amazon. Yeah, now you're getting sometimes packages within hours or drones even dropping them, right? Like they're continuing to iterate. And, this is a side of the business that we have accepted since the 50s and, no longer need to. So I commend you both for tackling this and look forward to, being a part of this journey with you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Justin.
No,
Yeah.
no problem. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. This is the first episode of the Morning Ping. We are going to be doing this every other week, and it's very exciting. Can't wait to hear the story next. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the technology behind the pod and doing a little bit deeper dive into that. So I can't wait to hear more about that.
Sounds good. Look forward to
Yeah,
it.
it'll be great. Let's nerd out. It'll be great.
Well, you've been listening to the Morning Ping. Until next time.